Welcome back. If you're just joining us, my name is Camille Bignani. I'm the UX designer and developer at STRT, and I'm hosting today's roundtable. We have a very exciting panel for our last session of the day, and it is called The Importance of Community to Student Creators. And we will be joined by two student creators that I'd like to introduce now. And we'll wait for them to join. Hey, Baxter.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Hi, Ada. How are you?
Hello guys, how are you?
Doing well. Awesome. So I'm going to introduce our speakers now. Tatman is a recent graduate of Virginia Tech's Cybersecurity Management and Analytics program. He is the co-founder of Cornucopia AI, a centralized marketplace for all AI-related products. Cornucopia AI has been accepted into Amazon Web Services Build Accelerator Program and represented Virginia Tech at the 2024 ACC InVenture competition. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about Cornucopia AI?
Yeah, 100%. So, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. My name is Tatman. I'm the founder of Cornucopia AI. Basically, what Cornucopia AI is a two-sided marketplace where developers of AI tools and solutions can market their custom-made solutions or pre-built AI tools, and another form for SMBs or small to medium-sized businesses to find the right AI tool for their specific needs to improve their systems or whatever they need help with, save time and money on their side. So it's kind of like a connecting platform, but it's also a community, just like START is. So yeah, it's a brief little description of it.
Amazing. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Baxter Wright. Baxter is the founder of Frothing Fest, an event company and clothing brand. He is a recent graduate from the University of Texas, Austin, where he received his BS in advertising. At UT Austin, he was highly involved with Launchpad, which is an entrepreneurship hub for students of all majors. Baxter has also put on events at South by Southwest, Summer Smash, and more. Baxter, we'd love to hear more about Frothing.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. It's great meeting everybody who I don't already know in here. So I'm Baxter. I just graduated from UT in May in advertising, and my company is called Frothing Fest. So what it started off was a vintage clothing business where I was like throwing free events, concerts to help boost the clothing sales. But since then, it's transformed into a yearly music festival in Austin and an event production company. We work with tons of different clients like Liquid Death, Coca-Cola, tons of them. And then, yeah, we do tours for artists. I'm actually currently in Germany right now on tour. So I had a show tonight that it literally ended like 20 minutes ago. So I'm doing shows all over the world now. And yeah, just love doing events and happy to be here.
Awesome. It's great to hear what both of you are doing with your companies after graduation, and we will kick things off with the Q&A. So the first question, we'll start with Ada and then Baxter, you can answer. So how big of a role has community played in your journey as a student founder?
Yeah, so personally, I think community's probably played the largest role in like allowing Cornucopia to grow because I think we started the company with two of my friends, and from there, from the people that Virginia Tech kind of introduced us to through the Apex Center and just the Pamplin College of Business in general, they did a great job of kind of connecting us to the right resources. So, I mean, through those connections, we were able to be able to talk to other people that were interested in our startup and wanted to join. So, from there it grew to, 2 people to 10 people and then 11. So, Virginia Tech did a great job of giving us those resources. And, just through that community being a bigger school, really helped us out. Being able to go present in Florida at the ACC InVenture competition and being able to go to competitions in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Washington D.C. and just different places. So played a very large role in our company and how it started.
And yeah, so for Frothing Fest, I mean, it's an event production company. So community is literally the most important aspect of doing these events. One of the focuses I've had is trying to like build a group of people that are coming through to every single event that just continues growing. being a student at UT, I think helped so much in boosting my company just because I was able to invite all my classmates. I was super involved with the Launchpad, so they were helping me out. Yeah, I mean, community is the most important thing, especially with events. It's all about selling tickets, getting people to these events. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So as student founders, what did you feel like higher ed got right about supporting student creators and student founders, Ada?
In terms of, speaking on behalf of Virginia Tech, I think what they got right is connecting us to the Entrepreneurship Center and giving us resources to mentors and different startup founders and people that have successfully exited their companies. So I think a big thing was just connecting us with mentors and other people in the kind of startup space at Virginia Tech, so you can get advice from them. You can talk to them about their experiences and their kind of struggles and what worked for them and what didn't work. So that taught me a lot about our startup as well, and kind of allowed it to propel forward. So that was a big help. That I think that's what they got right. They did a great job of it.
Yeah, I definitely would have to second that. I think being connected, I was, like I said again, I was super involved with Launchpad. I was an event production intern, and my teachers had pointed me in the direction of that. And yeah, I think I would have great access to mentors. I got a couple grants during my time at UT. And then I think one of the coolest things was my last semester. One of my professors was the founder of a company called Scoremore, which is probably like one of the biggest independent music festival production companies out here in Texas. They did Astroworld Festival, Dreamville Festival, Jambalaya Festival. And it really just blew me away that I had the opportunity to have somebody who's in such a similar lane as what I want to do in the business that I'm growing, be one of my professors and be one of my mentors. So yeah, I definitely think just helping point you in the right direction. And then also kind of helping you link up with students that are also going to be able to help your startup. There's really nowhere else except during your time at university, we were able to meet people who are eager to do graphic design to help you out, who are looking for internships to help you out. So yeah, I think there's a lot of great stuff.
Totally. I think you both pointed out how critical it can be to have mentorship and resources, because as student founders, it might be the first time you're looking at a business. What do I need to start a business? I remember in my undergrad, when I was at the Living Learning Community at the University of Utah, they had hours with experts where you could go and talk to an accountant, or you could talk to a lawyer to help you set up your LLC. And that really was such a stepping stone to propel me to have any information of how the heck to do this. Maybe you have an idea, but how do you actually make it a reality? So I think universities providing those resources and mentors is really, really crucial. That's awesome. And now, is there any way that you think higher ed could better support student creators? Anything in your journey in college that you felt like was missing?
In terms of what I think was kind of missing or what they can do a better job in, is probably just I think sending startups to more pitch competitions. And in terms of Virginia Tech, I think having a bigger presence, a bigger entrepreneurship presence in the classrooms, because when I was a freshman, sophomore, I didn't know about the Apex Center or anything that kind of supported entrepreneurship or anything like that. So I think more classes that are catered to people that have new ideas but are just kind of nervous to get it going or nervous to spread the word about it, or just need some support and confidence in starting their startup. So yeah, I just think more presence in the classroom to point them towards a direction of living learning communities like the Apex Center. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me was just all of the different ways that the school was trying to monetize, like outside of my tuition. For example, whenever I would need to print posters, I would have to pay a service fee to print those posters for the events. I actually would find myself driving to smaller universities because they actually offered free printing, unlike the school I went to. You'd have to pay to park on campus. You'd have to pay service fees to get tickets to go to the football games. Like really the list goes on, but I wish that there was more like free opportunities for students.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it's important to put yourself in the shoes of the student and their journey as educators and admin of universities. Maybe it's as simple as doing a little bit more marketing or visibility on campus, or making sure the student can get to your living learning community without having to pay for parking, and just removing some of those hurdles that can really set you back as a student who's also doing classes and everything. So I think those are two really amazing perspectives.
Definitely.
And moving on to more of your experience being on campus, how important has intellectual diversity been in growing your business between the different kinds of skills and people that you've met along the way?
I mean, I think that played a huge role in starting Cornucopia because, we needed people to do our development, we needed people to do our marketing, and we just needed more people on the operations side. So Virginia Tech did, I mean, they did a great job of introducing us to a lot of people with different diversities, and people that think differently. And it's kind of hard to just go about a startup by yourself. You kind of need other people to support you. So, having people that think differently than you do, who have different perspectives and have a different view on the decisions that you try to make is great. And having people with different skill sets as well. In our kind of from our stance, having people with more technical skill sets and backgrounds has helped us a lot. And yeah, just very important intellectual diversity to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. I think one funny story that I think of is back right whenever I wanted to form my LLC, one of my neighbors in my apartment complex, I had met him, and like we were just randomly talking, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I actually have a startup where I form LLCs for people." And he literally did my whole LLC for frothing for free, and that's something I would have never like been able to do, or like been able to even wrap my head around at the time. Meeting people who are graphic designers, meeting people who are video editors, meeting people who can help with accounting. It's great to, yeah, it's just super important.
Totally. I think that really speaks to the magic of being around like-minded people. And I know neither of you in particular lived at a living learning community, but you still found your founders and people to work with. But what was it like building your own community, having not lived specifically at a living learning community?
Yeah, so building your own community. I mean, it was pretty difficult, honestly. Just I think the people that I already knew from my first few years of university really kind of helped that process from just like my friends and professors that I knew already. So, that was kind of like just like a personal thing of, getting to know a lot of people around campus that, had similar passions and similar interests and connecting with them, telling them about our idea and just kind of growing from there. And then, they would have different people to connect us to, and then those connections would connect us to different people. So I think it was just a matter of, talking to as many people as possible around campus and, being kind, friendly to them so they could, send some connections your way, useful connections. So I think it's just a big part of talking to as many people as possible personally, but yeah.
That's awesome. And just another follow-up question, how did you end up getting connected to the entrepreneurial community? How did you find the pitch competitions?
So yeah, so I think we entered the Apex Center at the start of my senior year. So I think one of my professors told me about it. I wasn't really aware of it before in my junior year, but I think, yeah, so a professor made me aware of it. Then we went there and then they did a great job of helping us get connected to different pitch competitions and, sending us to Florida, Charlotte, all those kind of things. So, they had a big part in kind of building those connections for us. But, I just a recommendation I'd have is just making the Virginia Tech community more aware of the Apex Center and the different entrepreneurship resources around campus.
Definitely. And Baxter, moving on to what was it like building your own community as someone who didn't live on at an ELLC?
Yeah, definitely. So I know for me, I first started off by building out an online community through frothing. Whenever I first got to school, it was like right whenever COVID was at its peak. So there wasn't really many events going on, but I was still selling vintage clothes, had frothing vintage, I'm going around dropping off clothes to people, like really trying to form as many like relationships with my customers as possible. And it was doing super successful. I do like weekly drops and then everything would sell out super quick. But it wasn't until the end of my freshman year, whenever I was like, okay, I felt comfortable at that time to do like an in-person event, but I had no idea if anybody was going to come, you know? But so I went on campus every single day, passed out like thousands of mini flyers, stickers to everybody. I couldn't go into the bars, but I stood outside of the bar, gave in mini flyers to every single person who would go in. And then I ended up doing that first ever event, and it like blew me away by how well it did. There were so many people who I was selling those clothes to online, who I had formed those relationships with, would go just kind of hang out, talk to them whenever I'd go make those drop-offs for the clothes. That whenever I came time to do the like in-person shop, I probably exceeded like what I expected to get in sales by like 15 times. Like I was blown away by how well it did. But I really think it came down to just how I made those personal relationships with my customers, like right off the jump. And then from there, as the events just keep growing, I just make sure to do cool events that people want to tell their friends and create safe environments for people to come.
Definitely. And how did you end up finding Launchpad and the entrepreneurial programs at your college?
It was a struggle for me to find it at first, honestly. I remember just feeling super discouraged because I kept asking my teachers, like, hey, I have this startup, like I want to do this, this, this. I have frothing. And they'd just keep pointing me in the direction. They'd be like, oh, you need to go meet this person. Then I'd go talk to this person. They'd be like, oh, I think you should go to this place. And I go to that place. And then they'd just send me to it. So it felt like an endless maze. And I remember one of the times I started getting super discouraged was I went to go use the printer at like the fine arts library. And I remember like one of the head person there had told me there's 38,000 other student entrepreneurs here at UT. We can't help every single one. And it like blew me away. I was like legitimately upset. Like I remember being like, oh, there's nothing that the school can do. Like I'm going to Texas State to go like print my supplies. Like I remember being like genuinely upset off of that. And then finally someone had pointed me in the direction of Launchpad, and it completely changed my perspective on everything. I got into Launchpad, got that grant. I remember just walking in, and the first thing that they did was sat me down, helped me like come up with like a full strategy on a whiteboard for the next year with frothing. I was just blown away that it was people who actually wanted to help me grow my business. And then they also connected me to the other spots like the Herb Keller Entrepreneur Center. And like once I was able to get in, it felt like the doors were open and there was tons of mentors, tons of people trying to help. But it really was a struggle like getting into those doors at first. And I was feeling super discouraged.
Yeah, I think as a student, it's hard to balance everything and find things when you're focused on so many different things to do as a student. But I think both of you are amazing examples of founders who go out of their way and look for these opportunities, but there may be students that are a little more unfamiliar with the process. Or how important do you think community is to motivation? Both of you seem very motivated because you sought out these programs and found yourselves in the entrepreneur community. So how was that snowball effect of finding your people? How does that affect your motivation as a founder to keep going?
I mean, it probably has the biggest impact on me because and I work with I think 10 other team members now. And just when I don't feel like doing something one day, or I have something going on, I'm busy, they'll pick up the slack for me, and then they'll encourage me just to keep working towards whatever goal we have in place. And when I was at Virginia Tech, also the Apex Center, whenever we'd go there, they'd always kind of validate our idea. They would ask us a lot of questions, and they would just provide us so many connections that kept me motivated to keep going. And uh, they kind of told me that your idea is great, just keep going. And their words of encouragement really helped me out a lot, being a founder, because it's pretty scary just coming out with an idea that especially a business idea where, you try to provide value to people. You don't know if they're going to like your idea. You don't know if your idea is any good, and you don't know who it's going to help. So I think community is a huge motivator from people just encouraging you, to telling you to keep going. And, just having that support is what has meant a lot to me. So, it's definitely had a big impact on me.
Yeah, I mean, it's had a huge impact on me as well. I think pretty much before I make any decision on an event, I ask all the people around me, like, hey, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a bad idea? I really love getting feedback from the community. Um, After events, I'll send out a survey to attendees being like, hey, what do you think we could do better on the next one? And yeah, I just take like everything that people are saying, try to always better myself. And yeah, I mean, with concerts and like with events, it's so easy for me to like see the direct impact of the community at every single event. I see everybody there while they're enjoying the product. So yeah, it's like, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. And I know neither of you lived a living learning community, as we said earlier. But how do you think having entrepreneurship in your higher ed experience at all has helped you as founders? And yeah, I guess what is something that your school did in the entrepreneurship realm that you think every school should do?
I think I think as like a founder, I think a lot of founders already kind of have the entrepreneurial spirit inside of them, and they kind of already had ideas in the past. But I think it's just a term of I think it's just a matter of, those people that already have the spirit within them, being too scared to tell people about their idea or go forward with it. So I think the kind of support from the university, living learning communities, having entrepreneurship courses where you can tell people your ideas and you get feedback on them is definitely a big help. So, students that are kind of hesitant or just nervous to put their idea forward, can get that confidence that they need to, put their idea in front of people.
Hey, sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out a little bit. Could you say the question again?
Yes, so the question is, what is something that your school did to support your entrepreneurship journey in any way that you think every university could do?
Oh yeah, I would say for sure for me definitely was the grants. I got 2 grants during my time at UT that helped me pay to get my LLC formed, like the filing fee. And then they also put me in the position to throw a couple of events, the Student Founder Fest, one of which was actually with START, which was awesome. And like it was one of my first times like being able to do an event without having to take the financial risk myself. So that like really kind of helped me change my perspective. Another thing I think that really, really helped in like the long term was like helping me build pitch decks to find sponsors, helping me quantify like how much vendors are making, really just like trying to get like down the business side. I'm very oriented on like, oh, how can I throw the most fun event? How can I do the coolest lineup possible? But they really helped me like sit down and say, okay, how can I profit off of this event? And really just track the data and stuff. So
Totally. And Baxter, you work with both startups more on the business side as well as creatives in music and art. What do you think is similar about those groups and what is different?
yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that I really like love to tell people is people like artists, you are an entrepreneur. It is a startup. Um, you have the same goals. You got to create realistic goals for yourself in order to grow. Yeah, it's like hard for me to like say like particular differences because it's literally the exact same thing, whether you're an artist. It's literally, I wish that more like entrepreneurs, like, or I guess I'm saying entrepreneurs, but like artists aren't entrepreneurs, but I wish more artists knew like, hey, you can go take access to these resources. And during my time at Launchpad, that was one of the things I really wanted to like show people, apply for these grants. Some people would be like, oh, I have a clothing brand. Like, I don't know if that's the same as like eligible for this grant. I'd be like, no, trust me, go apply. So yeah, it's like literally the exact same thing. Like there is no difference to me.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that really speaks to the START philosophy as well, and using language more. So like founder and creator instead of just entrepreneur, which is historically more of a business only stereotype. So I think it's awesome to see how you two have such different companies, but you're both founders and entrepreneurs as well. That's awesome. And we have about 5 minutes left, so I'll ask one question and then we'll find a little bit more about what is next for your businesses. So if you could go back to yourself on the first day on campus, what would you tell this person?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry. I was looking at it.
If you could go back to your first day on campus as a student, what would you tell yourself?
If I was to go back my first day on campus, I'd probably tell myself, I don't know, I'd probably make myself aware of the Apex Center because I mean, like freshman year, I had some ideas, but never really as serious as cornucopia. But I mean, I just kind of held off a couple of years on even pursuing them or even thinking about them really, because I just kind of convinced myself that, I just kind of discouraged myself that, the idea is not good enough. Someone else probably has come up with it or came up with it in the past and it didn't work. But, that's not always the case. So just probably provide some words of encouragement and kind of direction and just, just talk to myself about, validating ideas. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think it's very common to be like, oh, this idea already exists, but for educators and admin of colleges to really encourage the messaging of you can do anything and really inspiring students, I think could go far. And how about for you, Baxter? If you could go back to your first day on campus, what would you tell yourself?
I'd probably tell myself that it's going to be crazy. I think starting Frothing Fest probably one of the best, if not the best, like decision I've ever made. I've had so many awesome opportunities, so many things. If I would have told myself as a freshman, like, hey, you're going to be doing this, like I wouldn't believe it. So yeah, just go with the flow and it's going to be crazy, but it's going to be super fun.
Awesome. Yeah, and you're joining us from Germany, so it shows the hard work pays off. And Otto, what's next for Cornucopia AI? We know that you're in the Amazon Web Services program. If you could tell us more about that and just what's next for you as we wrap up the panel.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start off with the AWS Startup Incubator. So they've done a great job of kind of giving us credits so we can host our website, host our platform, so we don't have to really pay for the host fees for traffic on our website. So that's been a really big help for us. They've also just provided some great consulting, business-wise, business model-wise, and of course, kind of consulting on the tech side as well. Using AWS to store data information. So they've been a really big help. It's been a great opportunity to connect with, one of the biggest companies, one of the biggest tech companies in the world. So it's been great. In terms of what's next for Cornucopia, we're pushing our website updates within the next couple of weeks. We've onboarded, a double-digit numbers of sellers and tools on our platform. And, we're participating in different AI conferences around Charlotte, Washington, D.C., and Virginia Tech. So it'll be a great kind of, looking forward to the next couple months for Cornucopia. We expect a lot of traffic on our website when we push the updates. So yeah, just connecting with people also in the future as well. So it'll be great.
Yeah, for me, I have a pretty big event in Austin there whenever I get back. I'm looking forward to. And then really just planning on scaling up for the next Frothing Fest. It's not going to be until November 2025. So planning like over a year in advance. I want to sell 3,000 tickets, like do a whole festival build out, a whole map. Yeah, I just want to continue scaling events, continue doing more tours, doing events in cities I've never been to, and hopefully pick up a few more clients.
That's incredible. We love hearing what both of you are up to, and we're wishing you the best. And thank you so much for your time.